Have you ever stood on a train platform and thought, the train should have arrived by now? Yes? Familiar to you? Yes, that's very much familiar to me as well. You may double check your phone app, then maybe have a sneak peek towards the track and watch other trains arrive and passing you. Now, with the passing every minute, you will feel a little bit anxious, nervous, and impatient as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly how life feels for most of us. We always think that our lives should go according to a timetable. We stand on a platform of our own lives and wait for someone or something to arrive at a certain time. It can be a career opportunity, it can be a university offer, a relationship, or you name it. That could be one of them. The version of ourselves that we thought we should have arrived by now, while we observe our friends and colleagues and family moving forward with exactly what we wanted to have in our lives. Isn't that familiar to you? Yes, it's very much familiar to me. When I was very small, I thought everything happens according to a timetable, scheduled. And the success or the results would happen according to that timetable in a very neat and a predictable fashion. Doesn't that sound like a train timetable? But I discovered that life is not always like a Sydney train timetable. Why? It can have delays. It can occasionally have platform changes, unexpected stops, and sometimes some explanations that we can't even understand. Now, with that, I realized that past 5 years of my life never went according to a timetable. Because I thought, okay, I need to study, graduate, land on a good job, then I will find a good partner, then everything will fall into place. But no, it didn't happen like that. I will take you back to 2020, where I graduated with the first class honors in zoology from University of Colombo. I got 3 gold medals. I immediately got the job as an assistant lecturer in the university, the same faculty. Everything was going according to the timetable that I thought that was happening inside my head. I was very confident with my next step in the timetable, that was applying for a PhD, for higher studies. So with so much confidence, I started applying. Now, at the time, it was COVID, and Australian and New Zealand borders were closed. So the only option for me, as my colleagues did, to apply for US. So I looked up for US universities, which offered life sciences related to zoology and insects, and then applied for 10 universities. I faced the interview well. I progressed to the final round. In silence. I didn't hear anything from them. While I see my other friends getting offers, not just 1, 2, 3, and more, I was just waiting to hear from the universities. My friends were packing their luggages and moving forward, flying to US to start their PhD. And I was just standing on my platform, waiting to hear from a university. Yes, I did hear from a university in Michigan, but that was without funding. Now, going to a foreign country without funding and starting a research, not a practical idea, I'm sure. So I couldn't go forward with that. I was sad and frustrated. The ordinary question came up to me, well, referring to a timetable. Is my train too late? It took me a while to understand. I was sad, I was frustrated. I gave a day to mourn. I gave myself another day to cry and feel defeated or not. Then I woke up the next day and sat down in front of my computer and started all over again. I still can remember exploring 40 universities in Australia and making that Excel sheet. I shortlisted 10 universities, spoke to supervisors, went through the interview process, and applied this time with a fresh eye, a fresh mind, and trying to change what I did initially. Presented myself in a different way, shared my experiences, research interests in a different way, and approached in a different way this time. Would you imagine that I got full scholarships from all 10 universities across Australia? And Western Sydney, thank you. Western Sydney was the first one, so I grabbed it because I wasn't sure whether I would get the others or not. So, ladies and gentlemen, my train had not passed me by. I must have stood on a wrong platform, but I changed the platform and worked things out, and here I am with my PhD. Now, I picked my destination and came to Australia, packed my life into a luggage, and started my PhD at Western Sydney University. Like anyone who arrived in a new country, I had to face through all the battles by myself because I came by myself. I had no family here. Luckily, I had a kind and supportive supervisors. And also I joined Toastmasters, where I found people who I called family. They helped me and held me tight along the storms that I battled throughout my life for the past 3.5 years in Australia. Yet, it sounds like it's going according to a timetable, but PhD wasn't that easy for me to battle according to a timetable. It took me 6 months to start my first experiment, and it failed 3 times, believe me, 3 times. And that's my first experiment, by the way. I had 4 experiments to go. But still, I managed to work it out somehow, understanding what went wrong in each and every single step. I was struggling with a review article, getting comments from 4 reviewers who were looking at that, giving comments for me to improve it. And I was working on that for the past 2 years, and finally it got accepted and was published last year, luckily. I'm free from that now. But still, my PhD is going on. Because when I first started, I thought, I will finish in 3 years. And 3 years was over by last year, December 2025. And now I'm into the 4th year as well. What went wrong? The ordinary question about the timetable was hovering in my head. Is my train late? But ladies and gentlemen, it had not passed me by again. I discovered that I'm already boarded onto that train. And I'm going that ride. I'm going inside the journey on that train, learning from my mistakes, learning from others, and correcting my mistakes, and going forward and enjoying the journey. And I believe, even if you feel like the progress is quite slow, if you are proceeding, and if you can see the destination is coming very soon, that is also a part of success. That's what I tell myself whenever I feel that my train seems to be very late. Now, that's all about education. But did you know that finding a life partner also followed more or less a similar journey? I don't know whether it's something to do with the Asian culture or in general in the society. People always think that even love should have a schedule. It also goes according to a timetable. Well, I don't believe that. However, people always think you should find a partner at a certain age, you should get engaged, or you should get married at a certain age, and you should start your happily ever after at a certain age, according to a timetable. But for me, it didn't work out in that way. And this came as a curious question. Still single? Oh, still single? Yes, it came as a joke sometimes, and I became a joke for some people as well, because I did not fit to that timetable. My life did not go according to that timetable. However, I realized that the train is not too late. Yet I kept asking that question. Yes, there were a few people approaching me, but they didn't come on the right train. Well, I landed on different platforms, but no trains arrived. Not my fault, I think so. Well, even though I felt that the train must have passed me by, I believe it must have not passed me by. Maybe I was standing at a wrong platform, or maybe it's still coming on the way. But for the society, it was a question that things did not fit to a timetable, but life was going on, and things were happening and moving on. And I was building a life. I was working for things, going for my goals, enjoying my little passions like Toastmasters, and spending my time and building my life with friends and family and the love they give for me. So things were happening. And yes, I will wait for the train thinking it is not too late. Ladies and gentlemen, reflecting on the past 5 years of my life, it made me understood that I have been comparing my life according to an ordinary timetable that was set for me by the society, or that has been existing already in the society. Maybe I may not have thought that the little progresses, that my courage to learn and grow, and to reach my ambitions, and to think not to give up, are also little wins and successes that did not go according to the timetable, but went according to a way that I set up in my life. Whenever you feel like you are left behind, or that things don't go according to as you planned, please remember that your train is not too late. It is taking you to a destination that is uniquely yours, carrying your own story at your very own pace.